Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today at this very special live event, wherever you are in the world. We would love to have welcomed you all here to Greenberg Abbey, but unfortunately that was not possible, of course, for obvious reason. It's really exciting to announce the opening of the new Grimbergen Abbey Brewery, and I would like to thank Abbot Erik de Sutter for welcoming us here at the Grimbergen Abbey, where it all started 900 years ago. We'll see the new brewery and look at how it combines the ancient brewing traditions of Grimbergen Abbey, inspired by manuscripts held in the Abbey's library and state-of-the-art New World brewing techniques. The result of that hard work are 3 new amazing brews: the Magnum Opus brewed beer, Ignis Quadruple, and the Astrum Pale Ale. And joining me for this very special event are Provisor of Grimbergen Abbey, Father Karel Stoutmas.
Hello.
Marc-Antoine Sauchon, who is master brewer at the new Grimbergen Abbey Brewery. And we're also delighted to welcome Carlsberg CEO Kees Hart. A very warm welcome, gentlemen. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, you have the opportunity to ask our guests questions about the Abbey's exciting new chapter in beer making. So please submit your questions in the chat, and I will forward them to our guests later on. All right, I'd like to welcome you again, Kees, and thank you for joining us. It's been 2 years since you visited this Grimbergen Abbey, of course due to a very busy schedule and a corona year. But of course you didn't want to miss this exciting moment, the launch of this and the opening of this new microbrewery.
No, absolutely. And indeed, it's 2 years ago, and 2 years of monitoring the building of this fantastic new plan. And I'm really keen to see now this in operation. So looking forward. This is a very important day for us.
Yeah, it's going to be a very busy day for you as well, because you will be visiting all the changes that have been made. And of course, the visiting center that's almost ready, and the microbrewery, that's for later on. So, Kees, Carlsberg has invested heavily in bringing to life the microbrewery, and also helped in developing and designing the visitor center. Why is Carlsberg doing this? Why is this so important, an important project for Carlsberg?
It's very important for us because craft and specialties is part of our SAIL 22 strategy. And within that, Greenberg plays, as a brand, plays an extremely important role. And we thought that we should have the kind of way for consumers to really experience this beautiful brand. And what's better to experience that at the source, which is then this Abbey. And it was, I think, just before the French Revolution that there was still being brewed here in Grimbergen. And it's exciting to see, to be here in the day that we bring it back to more than 200 years further. Yeah. So a great day.
Yeah, and of course it has a lot of authenticity as well. This history.
Absolutely, it's a fantastic story. I'm sure that the father will talk more about it, but I think it's appealing to everybody that likes beer.
Could you tell us a bit more about the ongoing partnership with fathers?
Yeah, well, the fathers have been extremely good for us, so to say, because they have a kind of business sense, but more than that, they really focus on the quality and the innovation around beer. And that is for us, of course, extremely important. In Carlsberg, we talk about the founders' mentality, going back to our founders. And what we see here is the fathers' mentality. So they focus on innovation, on good brews, on excellent quality. And that's exciting for us, of course, to match our own purpose with the purpose of the fathers.
Well, thank you very much, Kees. And before I introduce you to Father Karel, let's take a closer look at the incredible heritage of Grimbergen Abbey and what daily life is like at the Abbey.
Grimbergen Abbey is my home. We're proud of the Abbey and our beer. Grimbergen Abbey is part of the Norbertine Order, so we are looking forward to celebrate our 900th anniversary. Not many do that. We have chosen the Phoenix because this Abbey, Grimbergen, is several times destroyed. It's a story of hope, it's a story of rebirth, burned but not destroyed. That's our motto. This can be seen in the way we live our lives, in our prayers, but also in our beer. We love the rich flavors and the delicious taste. I know that the community of Grimbergen is very proud that we are brew again. We are setting a marker for Belgian beers worldwide. As provisor of the Abbey, I look after the buildings and I balance with my religious life and my pastoral work. I spend time working in the new Grimbergen microbrewery to help develop innovative new brews. We have a great team with Marc-Antoine, Cédric and Corentin. We love to taste the beers together, ensuring that we achieve our Grimbergen DNA, a refreshing flavor and a rich taste. A typical day here in the Abbey is we stand up at 7, we have morning praying and afterwards a breakfast in silence. This is very important for our spiritual well-being. It helps us to focus on what is important and maintain a balance between our pastoral life and our other work. Then we go about our daily life. Father Moam is a very spiritual guy. You find him certainly in the chapel. Father Tom is our librarian and loves his books. Before we had a father who was an astronomer who worked in our observatory. The other fathers who lives in the Abbey go about the work in their local parish. I could be in the Grimbergen microbrewery in the garden of dealing with the business of maintaining the Abbey for most of the day. At 12 we have meeting praying and then lunch. Around 6 we have our evening song called Vespers. Then dinner and on Sunday evenings we always enjoyed a Grimbergen together. That's how we test if it beer is still good. We have our garden. These ideas are nothing new. We have always done this. When we built the garden, we got a few surprises, including finding the well for the original brewery. We want to grow new ingredients, but also to use the garden to fire our imaginations to help us craft our brews. People from the town help us with the garden. I find it important that people have a position and that people can collaborate and help us. Beer is a very important part of life for us Belgians. As fathers, we can spread the joy that this beer brings around the world. And the new Grimbergen microbrewery helps us to do that. Like our symbol, the phoenix, we are once again rising to a new and exciting future to create even more delicious beer.
What a great history this Abbey has. Father Karel, well, we've seen that brewing has been an intrinsic part of life at the Abbey over the decades, over the centuries. So how is it like for you to be brewing on site again after 200 years?
It's amazing that we know that St. Norbert has founded here in 1128 the Abbey. And we still brew at the beginning. But we have a history of destruction, fires. That's the symbol then that we have take as coat of arms of our Abbey. So burned but not destroyed. And that's also the power, the passion we have that we come back and we start again, we brew again until the French Revolution. That was a very bad year. 1789.
The least you can say.
Yes, and the fathers leave out the Abbey in 30 minutes, and they came back 40 years after with the Belgian independency, and they rebuild everything, they restart. So, and we still wait then for brewing until 1985 that Theo Maas, the family Maas, asked to the abbot at that moment, can we brew the Grimbergen beer again? And we have looked that they do that. And so on the beginning time, we are the guardians of the recipe. So, and it's still until now, and it's going forward. But what we do now is brew again inside the walls, intramuros, after 223 years. So it's an amazing story. And I'm thankful to corporation, the partnership with Carlsberg, that they have the open-minded and they have the view to say, Grimberg, we must do with something with that. And thank you very much, Kees, that you are said to us, okay, we do it.
Yeah. And we do it, but also on a particular place, because the microbrewery is built exactly on the same spot as the
Yes, exactly on the same
previous brewery.
spot. Yes.
Yeah.
It's and now we want also to new innovations. The beer we want make here are we look to the future, also to the past, to the heritage of brewing. We find it in all books and everything like that. But we want innovate new flavors because here in Belgium, it's the culture of beer. It's very high. We want quality, and that we want also. You have already tasted the Greenberg, you well known, Grimbergen Blond Double Ambré, and now we following in the same line, and we brew here. So what can I say? I'm so happy with the historical moment.
Yeah, indeed, we have to keep a reputation very high, of course, here in Belgium. So there's a lot of responsibility that lies on your shoulder, and of course your team, Karel, Father. So how have you been preparing yourself for this challenging task?
For me, it was important to also to know, not only to taste beer, but also to know how you make beer, how you can make very good beer, delicious beer, with new flavors, innovative beers, and so on. So I say by myself, I just want to know what's going on in the tanks with the yeast, what's going on there, and also to talk with the brewers here, to have a discussion, not always agree, but to find out what we want to do, what is the taste that we can discover now. That's for me very important. So I went to Copenhagen, Jacobsen Brewery, and also to Obernai, to my practical work. And I start already with my theoretical studying in this brew school of Copenhagen also. It's a very famous, one of the famous brew schools all over the world.
Yeah, it's a high-level education.
Yes, and it's pity one is that with COVID, I was not allowed to go to Denmark, and also with the project, it's a lot of time.
I can imagine it's been very busy in the past
But
year.
we do that.
But you will go back then
Yes,
to
certainly.
finish the studies.
Certainly, yes, certainly.
Father Karel, I heard a story about an ox bone that was being found at the bottom of a well, an old well, in the grounds of the Abbey. What's the story behind it?
So, at the moment, I say by myself, not only the brewery, it must be an experienced place that people come here, the exciting of the heritage, the exciting of the future, the new innovations, but also that they can smell on hops and herbs. So we have built a hop garden, we have built a herb garden. And by coincidence, we find in the ground, 1 meter under the ground, the old well, 8 meters, 3 meters, and then
So you didn't know of the existence.
We didn't know existence.
Oh, right. And
afterwards, we take the old drawings and plan, and we see a little step is a well. God, it is the neighborhood of the brewery, and then we find a corridor, also under the ground, and of course of my students, and that is important to know that in the Middle Ages they brew for clarified the beer. They used bones for a cow to bring the protein together and to clarify it. It's like
making a soup, like a stock. Making a soup,
like that.
Yeah.
So
that's what it was for.
And then we have bring that to the university, the ULB in Belgium, and they have sent me a document, the C14, and it's just before the French Revolution.
So the bone, the cow bone, is 200 years old.
Yes, and also on the same time, we find it in the old books of the archives of the library in the Grimbergen, that my provisors before me, they have buy cow bones, 350 bones. They buy it to clarify the beer. So it's amazing.
Yeah, that's really a great story. Okay, we talk more about the brews that you've been working on in the past years. But first, so we've looked back at the history of brewing within the walls of the Abbey, and now, over 200 years later, we look forward to tasting Abbey-produced beer again. Let's take a closer look.
I love walking the streets of Grimbergen. I'm living in Brussels. Grimbergen is just 15 minutes from here. I'm Marc-Antoine Sauchon, Master Brewer. Welcome to our new state-of-art Grimbergen Abbey Brewery. There is a marker on the floor reminding me of the history of this place. The team and I work with the provider of the Abbey, Father Karel Stottenmas, and the other fathers in the Abbey Brewery. This place is built very close to where the last brewery was. We're crafting an exciting new future of experimentation and innovation in the new delicious flavors. The Abbey Brewery is where that magic happens, where we will be brewing the delicious beer of the future. There is lots of potential here for creating really magical brews. The new brews we make are inspired by our remarkable past. The fact that the light of the Abbey burns brighter than ever despite several fires is why we named our new brew Ignis. But we are also about forging the future of Belgian brews and beer more generally. The fathers of Grimbergen have always been innovators, and today we are pushing that tradition into tomorrow. This is the ambition and tradition that makes our beer so unique. It's what makes it so loved by so many. Hops are extremely important ingredient for some of our brews. The aromas and flavors they add can be exceptional. We have the freedom to innovate and experiment with taste and inviting flavors. We are pushing those ideas further than before, and in doing so, pushing Belgian brews to the forefront of a taste revolution. That is our big ambition. When we are crafting our brews, we are always thinking about how it will be enjoyed and what with. This is a very important part of the process. As with all our brews, it's deeply influenced by the surroundings. The Father's faith is felt everywhere at Grimbergen. They recently blessed the new brewery and our first bottling. It was a very special moment. We have big plans for Grimbergen Museum here that will tell our story, just as the fathers did before us. We look forward to inviting you in, to hear the story of this magical place. And for people around the globe to join our community. No matter where you are in the world, to hear the next chapter of our exciting story and try our delicious beers.
Squeezed between Kees Hart and Father Karel, we have Marc-Antoine Sauchon, who has been absolutely instrumental in making this microbrewery a reality. Marc-Antoine, you're only 28 years old.
Yes, indeed.
You're from France.
I'm from France, yeah.
So how did you get involved in this project?
But actually, I've been passionate about beer for a long time. I started brewing at my parents' garage when I was younger.
So what age did you have then?
Let's say that I was 18.
Okay.
And yes, but beer is not so well known in France, and back in the days we didn't have those studies to make brewmaster. So I followed actually oenology and winemaking studies in a master degree in Angers at ESA.
You're a winemaker as well.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I've got a background of winemaker, but I have been always working into the beer industry. Started in Kronenbourg in France, then moving to Copenhagen in Carlsberg for 3 years. And yeah, I started this project, I think we met 3 years ago already, at the early beginning, to follow all the production and everything. And thanks to Carlsberg, within the ongoing of this project, I have followed the brewmaster diploma at the same school as Pater Karel, Scandinavian Brewing School, and I passed, last year, even during COVID time and money.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks.
So in what sense is a winemaking background useful for a beer brewer?
Actually, I found a lot of bridges between the two industries because we are using the same processes of fermentation. And actually, now I can see that thanks to my background, I can use some of the knowledge I've got from the winemaking industry into beer industry. But I think we will talk a bit more about this later.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got a very interesting apprentice, Father Karel. So how is the cooperation between the two of you?
Say free?
Yeah. No, actually,
You can speak
Actually,
frankly.
I don't.
It's been broadcast everywhere around the world, so everybody will know.
no, actually, it's really good. It's an amazing chance for me to be there. And I think Peter Karel said it quite well. They are the guardian of the beer heritage, the tradition of Belgian beers. They are coming here. Peter Karel is coming every day at the brewery. He's talking to me and my team. And he's giving his point of view, also asking a lot of questions. He's really eager to learn. And for us, I think it's quite important to have such an eye like this, quite naive, but also quite skilled, because he knows how to make beer. And he's asking us questions, and we are questioning ourselves, like, why are you doing it? Why are we doing this way? Yeah, and we are always on the purpose of making it even better because of that, because of this exchange we could have also with Peter Karel.
But of course, it's all about taste, and taste is something personal. So what kind of discussions do you have about flavors?
Sometimes we have kind of fights. He's not a sweet guy. He doesn't like sugar in beers. So we try to make it a bit different and we tweak it. But it's always, I think, quite productive in a way. It's really a good exchange. We share a lot also drinking beers, but also tasting new raw materials and expressing what we would like to have in our beers. The way is really to, at the end, if it's delicious, if the beer is really delicious, this is what we wanted since the beginning. So that's a success for us.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your views on the 3 brews that you've done and what the flavors are. So the way you express it, it can be very poetic as well. So looking forward to that later on. We've heard about Greenberg's eventful past and its bright future. Now let's find out about the magic of the beer itself. I'm confident that it's been worth the wait.
We brew our beer with the best quality ingredients. We love experimentation. Belgian beers has always been about playing around with flavors. Can we add something different to the brewing process? For sure, if it makes delicious beer. That is our North Star. Like champagne yeast can create a really refreshing light twist. It can add some magic. If it tastes delicious, then great. If not, then we start again. Innovation is about the possibilities of flavor. The new Abbey Brewery allows us to take these ideas and to create exciting new brews. Our first bit of magic being produced by the new Abbey Brewery is 3 new brews: Ignis Quadruple, Astrum Pale Ale and Magnum Opus Brut Beer. Each has its own unique, delicious taste, inspired by combining our tradition with the best of New World experimentation and the Abbey itself. Our new brewery is where we can brew new beers in small batches on the spot and see what people think. If they like it, we will share with the wider world also. We often ask people here in the community of Grimbergen what they think. They have great taste. We can't wait to experiment more with ingredients from the garden to try new flavors. Father Karel and I have fun playing around with the traditional techniques. He is a proper brewer and is finalizing all necessary courses. The local community in Grimbergen is proud to have a brewery back in the Abbey. It's a place to be proud of. We are brewing delicious limited edition brews, the likes of which the world has never seen before. The ambition is huge, and we want to spread popular brews around the world.
Father Karel, it took 5 years for the microbrewery to be up and running. You did a lot of experimenting to have finally the result of the 3 new brews. How has the process been to get those 3 brews?
When I know that Marc-Antoine was the brewmaster here, we have a lot of meetings, and then I asked him, for this moment, we must have a fantastic beer. It must be right on, and it must be the best. So, and what you drink to celebrate something, it's a champagne, but we are not winemakers, so.
But you have a winemaker there.
Yeah, I have a winemaker there. So it was easy to say, can we make a beer with champagne yeast?
So now you're talking about the Magnum Opus.
Magnum Opus.
So that was the first one you worked on?
Yes, well, the first one.
Yeah. Magnum Opus actually means a masterpiece. And this is really something we brainstorm at the beginning. That's a beer we wanted to make. But for the others, we get a lot of inspiration about this place as well. talking about Astrum Pale Ale. Astrum means
Star.
stars, yeah,
Star.
stars in Latin.
Yeah.
And it's because on the top of our microbrewery, which I think is quite unique, we've got a star observatory, which is quite well known in Belgium. It's called Mira. We also use hops coming from Austria, which is called Galaxy. I think you've got the link. And the last one, I think, is a good illustration and translation of this full history of Grimbergen. It's called Ignis. And Ignis means
Fire.
in Latin.
Yeah.
And of course, it refers, you mentioned it before, Father Karel,
Yes.
that the Abbey was burned down 3 times
Yeah,
in
3
the past
times.
900 years.
Yes. After 20 years, 1142, it was here a civil war between the Lord of Grimbergen and the Duke of Brabant. They burn everything, all the buildings. The fathers flee out, but they come back. They start, rebuild everything until the religious wars in 1566. During a period afterwards from 30 years, they come back, they rebuild everything. It was the high days of the Abbey at that moment. There's still a witness, is a beautiful church we have here. You must visit, certainly. And then in 1789, the French Revolution, they destroy everything in 2 years. So, and that's what the reason that we have the phoenix as coat of arms to restart, the phoenix rebirth. It's also for us a symbol of resurrection of Jesus. So it's everything for us. It's the passion to go for it.
So as you can see, fire is quite part of our history.
So
And this
that's-
is why we wanted to use also smoky malt to make this Ignis quadruple.
So
the last
that's a characteristic of the
one. Yes.
Yeah.
of the Ignis quadruple. So I don't know whether it's a difficult question to ask, but do you have a favorite?
Oh, my
I know
favorite.
that you don't really like sweet beers.
No, I don't like sweet beers.
Yeah. So
And I think also in Belgium here, they are going back to the heritage, so the more bitterness beers. So and we have here the possibility to make new innovations, and it's for us the Astrum Pale Ale is an IPA. It's dry hopping on the end of the fermentation, so you have a full month, low in alcohol. But it's very nice, and it's remember me to also a father pirates who make here the observatory on the top of the microbrewery. So to look to the stars, it's the galaxy you see. We look into a microscope to look to the galaxy of the yeast. So it's so amazing to science bring it together.
Yeah. I was expecting a very poetic explanation. Thank
voilà,
you for
voilà.
this. Okay, Marc-Antoine, can you do better?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Which is your favorite?
I'm more technical, you know. I think you already get it. The Magnum Opus brewed beer for me is quite nice because of
And
course
also unique, probably.
it's quite unique in a way, and it brings me also on my background as a winemaking studies I've done, and it's also a good mix about what can be done because brewed beer is a style from Belgium. For sure, but we also play with some raw materials coming from South Hemisphere, which is especially from New Zealand. It's a hops which is called Nelson Sauvin, and I think you get it from the name. It's really close to Sauvignon Blanc taste. So this hops, when we will use it in a beer, will bring some wine taste, white grapes, peach, vanilla. I really like it. You have to taste
But
it.
it's branded as a beer that you drink for special occasions. Why is that?
Definitely, yes. I think Peter Karl said it. We were thinking about champagne, sparkling wine, something really about celebration. And also, thanks to a specific processes of fermentation, we raise the CO2 in our bottles. So I'm getting more technical, but in a more poetic way, it's full of bubbles, lively bubbles. The fizziness reminds you a bit of what you could have as a nice celebration, for example.
Okay. Kees, you haven't been here for 2 years, so you did not have the opportunity yet to taste the 3 beers. So you're looking forward now.
Yeah, absolutely. We have been
You had a
talking about
description
beer,
of the
but,
3 beers.
I will get it by lunch, I hope.
Yeah. It's
So
lunchtime
I'm
now.
really
Here
looking
in
forward to
Belgium it is. For
Absolutely.
people who are watching, let me see, on the Asian side, they're like, really? Okay, but you will have the time to...
In half an hour from now. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So you must be looking forward to that moment. All right. Father Karel, of course, once the COVID restrictions are over and COVID is behind us, I think, well, I'm quite sure that many people from around the world are very excited to come over and to see this microbrewery.
Yeah.
What do you want them to see and to learn from their visit?
I wanted to see the heritage part, the history of the Abbey, the religion lives, because this is our core business, don't forget that. And also the new innovations that we have done here. And when you are sitting here in this place, the Phoenix of the bar restaurant, you have the both. And also in the garden to have the taste of what is hop, the taste of barley, grain. You see that, the different grain kinds. Also the hub garden, to smell on it. And then also we want not only both to discover new flavors and taste, but ask also to the visitors, what do you want? And that's the experience hall we will still build this year, that people can say to us, perhaps you can make a beer like that or that or that. And that's make me also innovator. They push us to do something new. So it's a collaboration with the Abbey, the brewery, with food pairing, and with the visitors to come here.
Well, thank you.
We respect with everybody.
Thank you very much, Father Karel. I see that some questions are coming in, so let's have a look. And of course, you can still submit your question in the chat function on your screen. So looking forward to questions anyway. So Jean-Michel, it's a question for you. No, it's a question for Marc-Antoine. How many beers have you released from the new brewery?
So for the moment, it's 3 of them.
Yeah,
we
for the
presented
moment.
them. Yes, from
But
this
already working on new ones.
Oh yes, of course, yes. So 3 are already ready and will be launched as from today. But we are already thinking about other beers to produce. Of course, always keeping our Belgium and heritage tradition, going into the, I will give you a hint, maybe in the lambic and gueuze world. That's really looking forward, and Karel will be happy because they will be sour and not sweet. But also thinking about some barrel aging, and yeah, I think Belgium is a land of plenty when you want to innovate into beers.
Yeah, okay, looking forward to it. Kees, how important is Greenberg for Carlsberg in helping drive growth of craft beers?
Very important. Greenberg is part of our craft and specialty range. And even though we had, of course, an impact of COVID last year, we grew double-digit in our craft and specialty range. So it's very important for our growth now and in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Michael is asking, how does Grimberg beer differ from Tapist beer?
Oh, interesting question. You have the Trappist orders, the Cisterciensers. So the fathers, they call them the Trappist, and they make also beer, so Trappist beers. We are an Abbey beer with Norbertine order, so we can never have on the label Trappist beer. We shall always have Abbey beer. Perhaps in the future we can make a name Norbertine beers for the other Norbertines Abbeys.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's an idea.
Okay, thank you. Interesting question from Olga. What other ingredients and flavors are you looking forward to experimenting with?
But actually, we already did quite play a lot with hops coming from Australia and New Zealand, as I said. But we are really looking forward also to play with the Groit garden that Karel made. So Groit is a mix of botanicals, herbs you could use. And once again, you have plenty of different botanicals you could use in beers. I think that's something we are looking forward. And also playing with local ingredients. So it could not even be more local than this because the garden is just behind the microbrewery, but also working with local hop growers and bringing back some old varieties of hops here in the...
Yeah. In the hop garden at this moment is the old variety of the Middle Ages, the Groene Bel.
Yeah.
It was an aroma hop, and we have planted here. So it's exciting to see that, go back to the heritage. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Another one for you, Father Karel, is are you the only father involved in the Abbey Brewery?
I can tell you that at the beginning of the project, I asked to my colleagues in the Abbey, it's a project for everybody. we must support. It's not I represent here the Abbey, but the fathers are behind me. It's very important. And what I see that they enter in the microbrewery in safety shoes, brill, blah, blah, blah. And then they make bottles into the box. They want working in the garden, the hop garden. So it's nice to see that. Not only the core business is religious life, but also doing something to make something it's amazing to see that.
Yeah. So how many fathers are living here?
We are
on the
in
site
the
of the
Abbey,
Abbey?
we live with 9, and altogether, also with the fathers in South Africa, with 15
Yeah.
fathers.
A very small community.
It's a very small community, but a very vital community with power, with passion. I have a lot of respect for my colleagues, what they do in the pastoral work, charity work. Yeah, I'm a happy man. Yeah.
Well, it's time, I think, to do a tasting. Don't
Right.
you think? So I want to thank
Yes.
you, Kees de Hart, Marc-Antoine Sonchon and Father Carol for your contribution and for your very interesting talk. Well, that's all we have time for today, ladies and gentlemen. It's been fascinating hearing about the colorful history of Grimbergen. A huge thank you must go to you for joining us today. Our doors will be open soon, and we can't wait to welcome everyone from around the world to visit the new Grimbergen Abbey Brewery. Walk around the town itself, see the new brewery, and of course sample the taste of Grimbergen for yourself. In the meantime, please do visit the website grimbergen.com to learn more about the stories behind Grimbergen beer and the world-famous Grimbergen Abbey. For me, Francesca Van Thielen, thank you very much and goodbye and enjoy your day.